kusikia
kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Country Talk Live.
Tonight.
Basi yule mtoto akasema ile siku moja mimi sijaenda kanisani na Yesu Kristo anakuja.
Because kuleta ndege ya Chief of Defense Forces down is not only negligence but criminal negligence.
Nilikuja hapa hadi ya Gong nikamwambia mchague Ruto. Na mimi naomba msamaha.
Na mchezo huu rais ni mchezo ambao utakusaidia wewe rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Ni mchezo ambao unakufundisha jinsi vile kufanya kazi.
Your Excellency, what helped that case was there was a policeman who recorded his statement in English.
Sasa huyu ndiye nilipiga kofi. Juzi ndio amenipigia simu akaniambia
Tonight.
Greetings to you all. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Country Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, not so good news. Boniface Mwangi, the human rights activist, is arrested and his whereabouts are not known. And it leaves a lot to be desired on how is the Kenya government working in terms of the DCI. This is in the backdrop of many things being leveled against this particular administration by reason of forced disappearance and even death of those that are in police custody. So this is leaving us worried about what will become of Boniface Mwangi, having been picked from his house to his office. Now he's not at the DCI headquarters, and there is no clear information on where he is being held. What is becoming of our country? Are we becoming a banana republic or what? And what is it about arrests and, disappearance? We need to be in a democratic space where we are operating constitutionally. And the Constitution requires that certain particular rules must be observed in terms of people being arrested. They should be told what they are being arrested for, and their family and all the people concerned should be, made aware on where their beloved is being held. And so this business of, picking up people and then make them disappear, it's an old style of working. And I don't understand why the William Ruto administration is young and having, living in a new dispensation. Why are they so obsessed with operating the old dark days, tactics of intimidating people and, picking up people without clear following of the law? And what law are you enforcing if you are breaking part of it? And so these are some of the worried state that we find ourselves in as a people, and we seek more clarification on the same as we dive into this particular conversation. I call upon you to be an extension of what you're doing right here, right where you are. Please share the live with as many as you can. Invite more people to join and participate into the great show. We are here to see to it that we break down everything to its minute, wherever particles, so that nobody makes a mistake about what is going on. Remember, we are here to make sense of our politics as we ease life for the masses. We are live on Sound Candy Talk live YouTube channel, Sound Candy Talk YouTube channel, Sound Candy Talk Facebook page, Sound Candy Talk TikTok as well. Thank you so much, and apologies, we have not been able to do the show. There has been some trouble with our service providers, and generally yesterday the internet, I think the whole of Nairobi, the whole of the country, it had issues, so we were not able to come on. But we thank God we're here and early enough so that we get you to say what is within you about what is going on. So Boniface Mwangi is being picked up, and of course his house and his office, being searched by the DCI. This is coming in just a day or two after him filing the case at the East Africa Court of Justice about his, arrest and torture and illegal deportation from Tanzania. And in the case, is accusing the Kenya government, the Uganda government, the Tanzania government for aiding all those inhuman treatment that he and his counterpart from Uganda received in Tanzania. So is this a reaction to this case or what? And then, of course, other accusations is that he's sponsoring the Gen Z protest, money laundering, and other accusation. Now, all these things are only ending up into confusing us more, because it's either the government knows what it's doing or he's on a fishing expedition, which leaves a lot to be desired, because we can't be having a government going to pick up people and then find something to, pin on the people that they are picking. This kind of style of operation is outdated, is uncalled for, it's unnecessary. I mean, we are living in a time when you want to pick up somebody or you want somebody to appear before the DCI or otherwise, you just give them a call and they will appear with their lawyers. Why are we doing things in the dark? Why are we doing things irregularly? Why are we still what Jakindube here calls operating within the old colonial system of you can't lead a country except you have instilled fear in them and you want them to be afraid of you other than them, operating within the freedoms available within the provision of the Constitution. This is uncalled for, in my opinion, and we need not to be going on in this particular aspect. We are overdue to have a place where there is enough space for everybody to express themselves, and then within that framework of expression, if there is any violations, let's also use the law to deal with the violation of the same law. We can't be violating the law in the pretext that we want to, deal with those that are violating the law. That doesn't work. And so the DCI and the NIS and all other apparatus that are being deployed to cause all this mayhem is uncalled for, in my opinion, and is only plunging this country into a place that is not desirable. I encourage us to participate. Please, let's like the video and then, of course, share it widely. Thank you so much for those who are joining. We're beginning with that particular story, but let me give the link for those who want to join and to be part of this great conversation. Here is the link. Thank you. I can see Esther Stoll. The rest, I'm waiting for you here. Please share the video. Let's get talking even as we continue with this particular observation. That having been said, there are other development as well linked to the same. And then, of course, the statistics of unemployment rate. We have a story on the same, as well as Sifuna's, talks with the younger people today in the ODM meeting, where he had a passing on of a message on the importance of listening to the young people and not leading them without hearing them out. And so disregard for dialogue seems to be the issue at hand right now. There are those who don't want to hear any of it. Others are welcoming the same. But the way forward from where we are to where we ought to go will require us to sit and talk and be able to agree the way forward. But what's going on, these violations by the government is uninvited. It's uninvited, it's uncalled for, and I don't in any way support it. And then, of course, there is a story about the 4 members of parliament who may just go home before time is up. The IEBC acknowledges receiving the recall notice for 4 members of parliament. So I don't know whether your member of parliament should be recalled. You can show me that in the comments there. Are you satisfied with the performance of your member of parliament? Or he may be part of the 4 that are already been notified that they may face a recall. Now, that's also an interesting issue that we'll look at even as we continue with this particular conversation. So let's bring up that story of Boniface Mwangi, and then as I wait for you to come in and let's talk. Thank you so much. Keep it right here.
Now tonight, human rights defenders and outspoken political activist Boniface Mwangi will be spending the night in police custody. Mwangi was picked from his Lukenya home this evening by officers believed to be from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, who are armed with a search warrant for Mwangi's office at Mageuzi Hub in Kilimani, Nairobi. Police are probing the activist for various offenses, including incitement to violence, arson, robbery with violence, as well as money laundering.
Okay, fellow Kenyans, we are here at the DCI. It has become a custom for us to always enjoy these chilling evenings with the DCI. We are here because we're in follow-up of Boniface Mwangi, who was picked by the DCI from his house, from his residence, after traumatizing the family, and subsequently they ransacked the house without any respect, in total violation of his privacy and his dignity. He was therein after driven to his office at Hurlingham, where they equally ransacked the office, and Mr. Wanjeru will be giving the account of that. Following the completion of the search, they whisked him away to a unknown destination. Even as we are here, the DCI, they informed us that they were to take him to the DCI headquarters, so we followed him up to the DCI, only to be informed that he has not even reported here. So as we address you, we are yet to find out of his whereabouts. We do not know where Boniface Mwangi is, but all what we can say is that he was picked by the DCI, who during the search signed various inventories, so they cannot deny that they do not know where Boniface is. We are with the wife here, Njeri, and Mr. Wanjeri equally, and you can see how traumatized the family is. I pass it over to Mr. Wanjeri to give the accounts of the search.
All right, so earlier today, the DCI, about 15 officers showed up at Boniface Mwangi's residence in Machakos County. They served this application on him. Now, this is an application that was filed in court on 17th of this month, and a court order was issued the same day. You'll remember 17th was a Thursday. Since 17th, today is the day that the police have decided they want to deal with this matter. But what is even more worrying is that the order is directed to Mageuzi Hub. So why did the police go to the residence of Boniface Mwangi, where they have proceeded to take away his electronic devices, they've proceeded to take away things from his house? This order does not give the police any rights to take anything from his house. We then went to the Mageuzi Hub itself, where they've proceeded to make an inventory of items, they've carted away things. And now as we stand here, we have been told we come to DCI headquarters, but we are here at DCI headquarters, is not here. So to the best of our knowledge, is a missing person unless he's produced, and that is what we are saying at this time. This order has not been, the owner of the order is unknown, the magistrate who has signed it is not known, the status of the magistrate is not known, but here we have an order issued on Thursday, and today, Saturday, the police have come and decided they want to take him just to keep him in until Monday. This is harassment, and especially using a court order to carry out an unlawful search. So he must be produced, and we are going to ensure that on Monday, one of the first things we do is we actually deal with this application and find out under what circumstances were these orders being released.
Ordinarily, when a court issues an order, it has to describe it has to bear the name of the magistrate and the rank of that magistrate. You can see this one is just signed by magistrate. And ordinarily the practice is that even a court order must bear the details of the judicial officer issuing that particular order. So we have a lot to question about this order. It's a manipulation, an attempt to use legal instruments to perpetuate unlawful seizure of Mwangi's or Boniface Mwangi's properties. You know, we are telling Kenyans, whoever is aware of where Boniface is, please inform us, inform the family, inform Khalid, inform Wanjeri, or any other person that you can see within your reach. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Boniface Mwangi's whereabouts not clear, and all of it. The genesis is the court order given on Thursday. The court order is also being questioned. It is not bearing all security features that are supposed to validate it and make it enforceable. So is this a government committing crime, or it is just the usual way of operating outside the law? And for how long are we going to go in this direction as a nation? I think we can't be, advocating for a peaceful nation, advocating for a civilized nation, when we are running away from the responsibility of doing what we need to do the right way. I don't think there is anything forgivable there, because the moment you are an officer of the law and you are an officer of the government, you are bound by your contract with the people, and that contract with the people is within the framework of the Constitution. So when we disregard the Constitution and begin to do things our own way, this is the genesis of the animosity that we face in this country. And it appears that the current administration want to toy around with that aspect. To me, it is trying to push Kenyans too far, and probably we may just reach at that tipping point where there is no point of return. I believe if there is anything that needs to salvage the William Ruto administration, is the return to the rule of law and the requiring of everybody dealing with, especially ordinary Kenyans, the right way. This high-handedness and this hard-headedness and the chest thumping that is going around is not helping the situation. I don't know the 50 advisors and of William Ruto. I don't know what kind of counsel they are giving, But to me, this is a time to take steps behind and, appreciate that the country has suffered too much to bear with. And so it needs to have a breathing space. But if you keep tightening and tightening, it will not help. Eventually, it will backfire, and that backfiring will not be healthy for you as well as for the country. If there is one thing that I can remember, especially President Moi for, is his love for the country. His love for the country and his commitment to protect the country, that he would rescind some of decisions just for the sake of the country, and he will take most of the decisions in the interest of the country. This is one thing that we are not seeing so clearly with the Ruto administration. It appears everything should be revolved around saving Ruto, protecting Ruto, defending Ruto, and not defending Kenya, and not protecting Kenya, and not serving Kenyans. And that to me is abuse of office, to say the least, because the reason why anyone is in that office is first and foremost for Kenya. And so serving Kenyans and protecting Kenyans and doing what Kenyans desire is the sure way to get things running. I appreciate those who are joining. Priscilla, habari ni nzuri, karibu kwa show. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana tunapoendelea na mchakato huo. Kwa hivyo hili swala la Boniface Mwangi sio mara yake kwanza kushikwa, na haya masuala ya kufanya nini, kutetea haki za kibinadamu, ni swala ambalo Boniface amefanya kwa serikali tofauti, na sioni mbona sasa limebadilishwa saa hii linaitwa ni terrorism. That's a new terminology springing from both the lips of William Ruto as well as the Interior CS Murkomen. Is this the new way of dealing with those that are opposed to the William Ruto regime, that you call them terrorists, you brand them to be, after overthrowing the government and things like that? To me, that's far-fetched. It's far-fetched. Let's just deal with issues for what they are, not exaggerate them for what they are not. So Boniface Mwangi hapo analala pasipojulikana mikononi mwa polisi waliomchukua, ambao sasa tena wanakana. Kulingana na watu wa DCI headquarters wanasema hawajamuona na alikuwa afike huko. Sasa hii itakuwa vipi? And then of course njia ambayo wamefika kwake, kulingana na ile order, na hao mawakili wanasema hiyo order ilikuwa kwa ofisi. Order ilipeanwa for the search of Boniface Mwangi's office, not Boniface Mwangi's house or home. So how did the order extend in the hands of the police and in the hands of the DCI to also accommodate and cover the searching of his home state? Things are not working well if this is how we want to help this country. And I just pray that we will come around and begin to appreciate these things. So let's get more information on the same as we continue with this conversation. Tafadhali, kama unatupata, tuambie unatupata ukiwa wapi. Hili swala la Boniface Mwangi, wewe unaonaje? Serikali inafanya kile inapaswa kufanya ama inafanya visivyo? Na ni lipi ambalo tutafanya kama Wakenya kuokoka mambo kama haya, kwa sababu inaonekana hayaendi? Kama kuna lolote ambalo ni jipya hapa ama la kutisha, ni ile kufanya nini, ile mkataba katikati ya ODM na UDA. Mojawapo ya mambo ambayo yalikubalika ni haya ambayo mwisho ama kukoma kwa abduct watu, kukoma kwa kutesa Wakenya visivyo, na of course mambo mengine ilikuwa I think 10 points. Now it appears none is being adhered to, and so there is already a breach of that particular agreement. And now, if that is the case, is the ODM still in support of what's going on? Because if you are not for police brutality, you're not for abductions, you're not for forceful disappearance, then why are you still holding on a dead agreement? Because from the look of things, this is a dead agreement, unless there is more to this agreement than we are made aware of. But from the look of things, this ought to have stopped long time ago. Yeah, you know, that agreement was clear. We need to have a coherent, peaceful, united nation called Kenya, where every Kenyan is the same in the eye of the law. What is this about terrorizing people in the name that you're dealing with terrorism? It doesn't sit well, and in my opinion, it's uncalled for. Let's just get more video on the same, and then we'll switch into another story.
One time. Yes. Ruto is a coward. One term, lazima aende. We have done nothing wrong. Activism is not terrorism. Activism is not a crime. We have done nothing wrong. I am innocent. I've been arrested for doing nothing. They came to my house without a search warrant. Wait. So I'm innocent. So
what are they saying?
Msiogope. Protest.
What are they saying?
Protest. Ruto must go. Protest. Ruto must go. He's a one-time president. He's a killer. He's a killer. Muuaji wa watoto. Haya, patia your president. He's a murderer of kids. Murkomen is a thug. Watalala jela pia one day.
You have it, how the DCI went to pick up Boniface Mwangi on those allegations. And you can see how they are going about it. Then, of course, the defiant Boniface Mwangi saying Ruto must go. Now, what I find fascinating is how they are going about even the search. Is there anything specific they're looking for, or they just want to rough up this particular person? And then, of course, going there in the evening. I mean, in the late hours of the day. Why? To the best of my knowledge, summoning somebody to the DCI will appear. Going to search, should it be, a secret? If the court order was given on Thursday, why is it being enforced today and today evening, not today morning? It's very funny. And then, of course, also that reminds me of our history. And I've said this here on this show, and I keep saying again, it appears the judiciary is not appreciating the redemption that they got with the 2010 Constitution. During the Moi era, to be specific, the judiciary was dead. I mean, no Kenyan had any confidence of going to the judiciary for anything. Why? Because the judiciary was 100% under the executive, and all the rulings were according to the orders from above. The judiciary used to operate worse than the police today when they are given the orders of shoot to kill. Now, it wasn't until after the coming in of the new constitution in 2010, and of course the rebranding and the remarketing and reassuring of Kenyans, that Kenyans developed confidence and trust in the judiciary. Now, if the judiciary now is being sucked into these political games that are going on right now, that court orders are given, they are not signed, the magistrate is not known, and it is for going to inflict fear and intimidation to, harassing a family person and his family. I hope they know what they're getting themselves into, because I don't think there is any other salvation for the judiciary if they don't keep their lane and ensure that they are doing the right thing, no matter who requests them to do what is not right. In my opinion, no one should participate in these dirty games that are being done by the DCI or by whoever that is behind this. I think there is nothing, I mean, so you want to tell me that the DCI were very busy today, that they only discovered there was an order to be enforced late in the evening? These are old tactics of trying to intimidate, harass, and instill fear in them. I don't know why is the William Ruto obsessed with returning this country into a police state. Doesn't he realize that we are in the 2010 Constitution dispensation and that is not viable? So let everybody, we have said, bear their cross. And whoever that is doing this, whether, under orders or whichever, we don't need this. We don't need this. We are more civilized. We have a new constitution. We are in a new Kenya. Why can't we operate newly? Why can't we operate within the framework of the provision of the law? Why are we so obsessed with circumventing the law and, finding ways around the law. All this crooked way of operating, why is it becoming now, a way that this government has to operate? Are you telling us that this government is in office illegally and they can only sustain themselves in office illegally? Those are the, that's what we can read from this kind of, monkey business of operating. This is too low for this country. This is too low for this country. We don't need it at all. We don't need it. Let's arrest people. Let's prosecute people for their ills. Let's ensure that, we are doing what we are doing justly. Justice be our shield and defender. Is this how justice will be our shield and defender? It's become an instrument of torture, an instrument of intimidation, an instrument of, visiting extrajudicial, where you want somebody to be punished before he's produced before the law. He's produced before the court of law. That's the whole purpose of arresting people on Friday, because the court will not sit on Saturday and Sunday, so that they are begin to serve their imprisonment. Yes, in custody 3 days before they are produced against the law. The law stipulates nobody should be held in custody and not be produced before a judge within 24 hours. So this way of trying to punish people before they are produced before the judge is illegal, is unconstitutional, is uncalled for, is barbaric. We don't need it. If somebody has committed a crime, handle him according to the rule. Handle him within the framework of the law. Arrest him according to the law. Produce him before the court according to the law. If he wins the case, well and good. If he loses the case, well and good. Why should we go to punish somebody before we are even able to produce the accusations against him? What we are holding him for. So this ought not to be the case. Kenya is too big for this. Kenya is too mature for this. We don't need these operatives. And all the people concerned, please stop embarrassing this country. National community, holds this country in high esteem. Why are we dragging ourselves in the mud by this, fishy? This is not it. This is not the country we should be proud of. We need to have a country that we are proud of. We excel in every way. Why are we being dragged into the mud by this kind of operatives? And Boniface Mwangi is just filed a case against, I will be playing that video, against the Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya about his mistreatment while he was in Tanzania. So this is an international case filed in the East Africa Court of Justice. The world is looking at this. Why should we allow ourselves to go and, get our already messed up name by being taken to court for things we have done as a nation? We want to add salt to injury by now arresting the person and calling them terrorists. This is bad. This is bad. We don't need it. Well, let's hear about that case and then we switch gears.
Citizen TV. Human rights activist Boniface Mwangi and Agather Atuhaire, alongside 7 civil society organizations, have filed a case before the East African Court of Justice. They are accusing the government of Tanzania of grave human rights violations, including enforced disappearance, torture, arbitrary detention, sexual abuse, and unlawful deportation. They're also demanding public apologies from the governments of Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, plus compensation of at least $1 million each, which is approximately 130 million shillings. Melita Oletenges reports.
1 month after going public with chilling accounts of abduction, sexual assault and torture, activists Boniface Mwangi and Agather Atuhaire, backed by 7 civil society groups, have taken the Tanzanian government to the East African Court of Justice. They accuse Kenya and Uganda of aiding in their illegal deportation. Among other demands, the activists seek public apologies from the 3 countries, $1 million in each compensation, rehabilitation and psychological support. In a written statement, Boniface Mwangi described the ordeal as evil, saying it was an attempt to silence them, but they refused to stay silent. They say they are in court to demand justice and expose what happened behind closed doors. David Sigano, the CEO of the East Africa Law Society, called on the court to act decisively. He said no citizen should be tortured or deported simply for observing a court trial. According to the 2 activists, they were abducted from their hotel in Dar es Salaam in May by unidentified individuals. They were taken to the Immigration Department and Central Police Station in Dar es Salaam, then later transferred to an unknown location where they were tortured and sexually abused. They were later dumped across the Tanzania border, Mwangi into Kenya, Atuhaire into Uganda. They had traveled to Tanzania to observe the treason trial of opposition figure Tundu Lissu. At no point they say what they told why they were being detained or who had ordered their removal. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
We're taking a break now and we're coming back with
Sorry about that mix-up. I think our enemies are at work. I just hope this works. Okay, thank you. We are back now on YouTube and Facebook as well. Asanteni sana kwa kuwa wavumilivu. Now, niulize tu, nilikuwa nauliza hivi, wale tumekuwa na wa TikTok, or the YouTubers, you are coming back. Thank you so much. Please share link, get more people to join. I'm asking if you've been accused for abduction, you have been accused for forceful disappearance, you've been accused for torture, and the case has been filed in the East Africa Court of Justice. You have been mentioned, you've been named. Do you go the following day and arrest the same person who has accused you? Are you not confirming the judges? Are you not confirming the charges against you? Are you not confirming that you are indeed an abductor? You are indeed, the person, causing torture to victims. So I fail to understand why would William Ruto be doing this, or his officers for that matter. Is it that they have no regard for law, or they just delight in violating the law? And if that's the case, how many more violations should the William Ruto administration do before the members of parliament wake up to this reality that gross violation of the constitution warrants an impeachment of somebody from office? Aren't this part of that gross violations? Talk to me. Let me hear what you think and feel about this entire scenario. But to me, I think we are far from being what we ought to be as a country. The 2010 constitution needs to be implemented, but somebody is sabotaging the whole thing and making it to be a piece of paper. They will govern this country without that constitution. They will do what they want, regardless of what that constitution say. That is not how this country should be governed. And that is not how to cause what they are calling unity and peaceful coexistence. We cannot be united and be coexisting peacefully abducted, and we are being indignified before all of it because somebody doesn't like that a group of people are saying one term. I mean, one term is one term. One term is what? One term. Is there any crime of being one term? I don't think so. Is there any crime of saying one term? I don't see it. Because our constitution envisions that when somebody runs for presidency or runs for governor, he has the opportunity to serve for 5 years, and then he can only serve the second 5 years if he gets re-elected. So there is no uniform that you're going to serve 2 terms. It is not in the constitution. The constitution says you serve first 5 years. If you get re-elected, then you serve the second term. There is no automatic that if you serve first term, you're going to serve second term. And we have had this, okay? Lusaka served as governor in Bungoma and lost second term. Is the current governor, he has come back late after another election span has passed. We had who? Kidero. Kidero served Nairobi as governor and lost the second term. He went home. So what is this obsession that one term is now become a crime? There's nothing about, there's nothing unusual about it. Why are we making it a big deal in the first place? Let's follow the constitution and stop playing games. Let's do what is required. you can only serve second term after you get re-elected. Before then, you're still a candidate. And Kenyans should weigh you in the balance. And only when Kenyans are satisfied that you are the man for the job, they will extend. Biden served 1 term. What's wrong with 1 term? So tuache story mrefu na tuache kusumbua watu kwa sababu wamesema 1 term. It's normal. It's normal. As we went to school when school was still school. If you in your report form is not written promoted, you repeat. I was in class with people older than me who were old enough to be my father. They were in the same standard 1 with me because they have repeated so many times. We came and found them and left them in standard 1 because they were not promoted. So the only way for you to be guaranteed second term is when you outshine and overperform in the first term. But playing these games of intimidation, forceful arrests and forceful disappearance, hoping that they will help you get re-elected, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to make any much difference. So the cases at East Africa Court of Justice, is there any justice coming from there? We hope it comes from there. Is Boniface Mwangi and she's called Agather, the Ugandan lady, justified to, accuse or rather present a case against Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania on their matter? I think they deserve to, and they deserve to be heard, and they deserve justice. Because the whole scenario surrounding their experience in Tanzania is unwelcome. It's inhuman. It's inhuman, and it only makes sense if we will get justice. We can't have a society like that and expect to get much out of life. We have, as a people, begin to demand that things are done the right way. And when people are grieved, let them be heard and let them be, served what is rightfully theirs. That's what's called justice. When people are given what is rightfully theirs. And so whatever games that are being played and whatever moves that are being made, if they are not in the pursuit of justice, if they are in trying to entrench impunity and disregard of the law, it's going to flop. It's going to flop. I can assure that. Well, we are switching gears as we look on another story, and that is the recall of members of parliament. Na unaambie kama mbunge wako anarudi ama anamaliza term. Hapa sasa kuna watu wa half term, wacha 1 term. Kuna watu wa half term. Ningependa pia uniambie katika comment section, mbunge wako ni wa half term ama wa full term. Mtu amepewa mpaka 1 term and then anaanza kuteta. Kuna watu hapa wako na half term. So unaambia wakwako ni 1 term, half term ama ni namna gani? Let's listen to this.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has confirmed receiving petitions seeking the recall of 4 members of parliament a week after the new commissioners were sworn in. Without naming the specific constituencies, the commission says it is reviewing the submissions and will respond accordingly. The commission, through its chair Erastus Edung Ethekon, has also announced that preparations are underway for by-elections for 23 elective seats that are currently vacant. Belito Letenges has more.
After taking oath of office, the new IEBC team is at work. The commission reports it has received 4 separate petitions from members of the public calling for the recall of certain legislators. Details about the specific constituencies involved remain under wraps as officials continue their review.
We currently have roughly 4 We will look at them once we go back to the office. So going forward, of course, it's the right of every Kenyan to exercise that right of recall under the Constitution. And as IEBC, we will be there to do that which we can or which the law allows us. We will receive those petitions, we will examine them, and then we will, of course, respond to them.
In addition to handling recall petitions, the Commission has announced plans to carry out by-elections in 23 elective posts that are vacant. These include 1 Senate seat, 6 constituencies, and 16 wards, pending official declarations of vacancy from the National Assembly and the Senate.
They will write to the Commission. They'll issue something called a writ. Once those writs that expired have been reissued, then it gives us a window of about 90 days. So about 3 months, within which to execute our plan to hold those by-elections and to conclude with them.
Striving for greater voter participation, the IEBC is preparing to roll out a targeted registration drive. Special focus will be placed on engaging Generation Z, who have been especially active on social media and are increasingly vocal in the political space.
We hear the voices of young Kenyans demanding the opportunity to be counted and to be actively involved in these democratic processes of rebuilding our country, Kenya. The work of our Secretariat and now the full commission constituted has been laying the groundwork for the resumption of voter registration to ensure that no voice or no voices are left out.
The Commission is urging young Kenyans to register and take part in upcoming elections, stating that efforts are also underway to clean up the voter register and implement comprehensive reforms to ensure credible polls in 2027.
We reaffirm that the credibility of any elections depends heavily on the accuracy and integrity of the voter register. A clean and inclusive register is not merely administrative. It is the foundation of free, fair, and transparent elections.
Meanwhile, the court is expected to issue guidance on the long-stalled boundary delimitation process, an exercise that has already exceeded its constitutional timeline. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
Okay, mambo ni kama hayo. Wabunge 4 wako kwa rada ya wale ambao wanaitwa. Nani anasema volume check 1 2? Ama mimi nimechelewa. JM, confirm kama mnanipata watu wa YouTube. Tuni, we can't hear you. Are you confirm please? You should be able to hear me. Nani huyo ananipata ama ananikosa? Dear check on 2. Oh, that was earlier. Thank you. Sorry. Somebody was interfering with our internet here, but I think we are now good. Asante san. Now, this issue of recalling members of parliament, let me just look at the 3 aspects of the recalling of a member of parliament. The recall of a member of parliament follows these 3 steps. Number 1, initiate the process. A voter in the MP's constituency applies to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, for approval to start the recall petition. Number 2, grounds for that particular recall. An MP can be recalled for gross violation of the Constitution or any other law, committing of an offense under the Election Act, misconduct likely to bring disrepute to the office, or mismanagement of public funds. Those are the grounds upon which a member of parliament should be recalled or can be recalled by his constituency. Number 3, High Court confirmation. Recall proceedings can only proceed upon the High Court judgment or a finding confirming the specified grounds. However, recall must occur not later than 12 months before the next general elections. Now, that gives us grounds, that gives us the process of recalling a member of parliament. And you can see there, it is not a walk in the park, number one, but the person empowered to do this should be a voter in that particular constituency. And then, of course, you should be able to cite the violations of that particular member of parliament, and that violations must be confirmed by the court of law. So I don't know if all that has been covered by this particular 4 member of parliament, and there are more coming from the look of things. And this is a very good avenue in the constitution that can help us recall incompetent people who may, get into office and then misuse the opportunity they have. Instead of them serving the people, they begin to serve themselves or misuse the public funds. It has been rumored also that clause about the recall of members of parliament was adjusted by an act of parliament that introduced those, controls on 12 months before a general election. He cannot be recalled. Then there was another aspect that says he cannot be recalled until they have served for at least 2 years. And so both those were not part of the original scripting of the constitution, but whichever way, 2 years in office, every member of parliament has now exhausted that, and therefore the recall process can start. And unaambia tu mbunge wako anapaswa kuwa recalled ama anachapa kazi vizuri aongezewe another term. Tujue nani ni half term, nani full term, nani 1 term, nani 2 terms, tukisonganga hivyo. Kwako wewe, maoni yako, mbunge wako anachapa kazi vizuri ama unataka washirika ushirikiane na wapiga kura wa eneo bunge hilo wakamuite aseme yaliyoko, kwa sababu haya sio mazuri ambayo yanaendelea, wakati wale ambao tumewatuma kututetea hao ndio wanafanya nini? Wanachagua kutuhangaisha, kama vile tumesema, sababu za William Ruto hata kupewa onyo tu, kwa sababu atuseme mpaka lazima kuwe impeached, okay? But let there be some warnings, because the constitution is not supposed to be, just a document, and those clauses in the constitution should not be left just there. I mean, somebody should come up. And that's one thing that I loved about Orengo. Orengo, I think, introduced an impeachment for Moi, was it twice? And things like that. Let there be some action from these members of parliament, not for this violation to be continuing, the killings, the abductions, the sufferings of Kenyans, and members of parliament are just watching because they are bribed to do whatever they do. That doesn't sit well. That doesn't sit well. And so we need some actions. Let there be some right-thinking members of parliament who can rise up and at least warn the president and his government that they should not sit pretty, because Kenyans cannot continue in this kind of an environment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Karibisha mtu tumakinike tunapoendelea na kuchambua. Bwana John, habari ya leo?
Nzuri sana.
Karibu, tuambie mawili matatu.
Nimekaribia sana, nimesikitika sana kusikia ati nani amekamatwa, Boniface Mwangi. Hata sijaelewa ni kwa nini ameshikwa, lakini serikali pia iko na mzaa. nakumbuka ile maandamano ya Gen Z ya 2024. Ruto alituambia ni Ford Foundation ina sponsor waandamanaji. Alafu baadaye akakuja Amerika, akaenda Amerika, akaambia watu Amerika, akaongea vizuri huko akiwa kwa Amerika. Haya, juzi akatuambia sijui sponsor wazazi waongee na watoto wao. Sasa ni wazazi wana sponsor waandamanaji ama sasa yeye ametuambia ni Boniface Mwangi. Mara yani the government is just confused. And what I have learned is that if somebody is falling, hakuna kenye wanga anajisaidia nayo. Yani anashikilia kila kitu. Anajaribu, he's trying to do everything in his power, but he is not going anywhere. What Ruto should just accept is that afanyie wananchi kazi, awachana na hizo mambo mingi. If I was William Ruto, what I could have done, not even to fight with small people like Boniface Mwangi and all these people. I should focus myself on doing development for the people, because that is what he was elected for. Hii mambo ya kushikashika sijui wakina sijui Boniface Mwangi anawapeleka hapa na pale, it's not doing any good for him. That's I think he's just anaribu wakati mingi. Naona, in fact he's even making them better. Naona, hii one time will continue. I don't think he's in a position to stop the movement, the one-time movement. I don't see how he's going to stop it. The only way to stop it is for him in the election, by working with the people. People are not mad at William Ruto because they don't love him. But people are mad for this government because of the things they have done for themselves. So even people that they walked into this government are now out of this government. Boni Kalwale, out of this government. Musalia Mudavadi, out of the government. Ako huko ndani lakini ametoka. Musalia Mudavadi ndio ameweka chama pale. Baada ya kugundua UD nini ile yake inaitwa ile yake ile alikuwa nayo. Ni UD ANC. Musalia Mudavadi alifanya makosa. Mimi nilimwadvise. Nika-advise wadani wake ambaye nilikuwa najua. Nikamwambia Musalia Mudavadi is making one big mistake. Avunje chama yake, ajiunge na chama ambaye inaanguka. Because ya wakati UDA ilikuwa inaanguka. I don't know why Mudavadi akaamua kuvunja chama kwenda kujoin. Angeweka kama Wetangula. Wetangula alikataa, alisema yeye sivunja chama. Akakataa akakaa ngumu. Musalia Mudavadi ni anakaa mwasiwasi, amechanganyikiwa. Sasa saa hii ndio watu wake reform chama. Unaona? Sasa mimi nashangaa na William Ruto. If I was William Ruto, whoever is advising him, I think is advising him wrong. Wachana na wa Kenya. Just work for the people of Kenya. They will elect you again. Ukipigana nao, they will resist. And there is nothing that hurts seeing a leader trying to prove himself to the people. Mimi naona kama Ruto anapoteza tu wakati. Atashangaa 2027 akigundua hizi vitu zote amefanya ni kazi ya bure. Unaona? So if our parliament was working just as we have said, saizi as we speak leo, ingekuwa na motion kwa parliament ya kusema ya kuimpeach the president. But ni kwa sababu our parliament is not working, it's not functioning. That's why we do not have a serious motion in parliament to impeach him. And violate so many things. Ile kusema ati watu wapigwe risasi kwa mguu. Hiyo ni, in fact, hiyo mtu anaamka asubuhi parliament kumuondoa. Because how comes the president is supposed to protect the people? How comes you tell the police to shoot them kwa mguu? I mean, if our parliament was working, I think sasa ingekuwa na motion ya kuimpeach president. But sasa sioni kama hata itakuwa emotion. Hiyo watu wangoje 2027 just as they have bring the IEBC. Ngoja tuone kuona kama ataenda nyumbani. But itakuwa ni ngumu sana kumpeleka nyumbani anyway.
Okay, sawa. Inaonekana ni wabunge kuogopa ama wabunge kununuliwa? Kwa maoni yako?
Wabunge wamenunuliwa, hiyo ni ya kwanza. Ya pili ni waonga. Sasa mtu kama Kimani Ichung'wah anaenda tu mali pesa iko. Pesa ikiisha amekuacha. Na mimi nawaambia tu kama Kimani Ichung'wah. William Ruto hapendi Kimani Ichung'wah. William Ruto anajua vizuri sana Kimani Ichung'wah ni mtu wa aina gani. Anatumia tukimani chungwa, akishamtumia akimaliza na yeye anamtupa. Alitumia Rigathi Gachagua huko kwa mlima huko. Akapiga Uhuru Kenyatta. Baadaye Rigathi Gachagua akaanza kulia baadaye. Oh, Uhuru Kenyatta nisamee. Oh, Uhuru Kenyatta ulituambia. Unaona? So hao ni pesa tu, hakuna kitu kingine. Wacha nikuulize. Unafikiria saa hizo vitu zote zenye president amefanya? Kama ungekuwa na serious parliament, singekuwa ameintroduce motion of impeachment. I am sure kuna wabunge wako tayari kuintroduce. The problem is who will support the motion is the question.
Haya, ya pili. Speaker ambaye anafai kuwa neutral
ndio ule ana campaign for the government. So tayari ukileta motion of impeachment, maybe I won't even see the light of the day. So I think the speaker also should just go home together with the president. Those people should go home. No.
Sawa kukwena the way the young people are saying, we drain the whole swamp because this is bad for the country. This is bad for the country. I remember.
I have the following problem.
I remember in 2024. Caleb Amisi, the support member of parliament, had prepared an impeachment motion against William Ruto. How did that get shelved?
I'm telling you that this member of parliament ni wale wa kununuliwa kila wakati. Hao wamenunuliwa. Hao member wa bunge wa parliament wamenunuliwa. Wangekuwa kwa serious ile motion na Caleb Amisi ndio ingekuwa ingeona late of day. Sasa hivi ingekuwa na nani? Na ningeona elekea uchaguzi kungojea 90 days twende uchaguzi.
But speaking about
all right.
I have one serious problem with young people.
I like the movement. I like the movement. We are leaderless, tribeless. We are leaderless, tribeless, and what else? We don't fear. Very good. Sound very good. I have only one problem. Leaderless. It is very difficult to be leaderless and to have an agenda. Because
who speaks for you or who speaks on your behalf? Somebody must speak on your behalf. Whatever you have discussed, somebody must speak on your behalf. I also agree with them when they say leaderless because kumekuwa na tabia mbaya viongozi wetu akishajua kiongozi ni nani wanamnunua. For example, tumeona wote ambao wamejaribu kuwa viongozi wa Gen Z wote wamenunuliwa. Tuanze na Murare Kibaso. Murare Kibaso alikuja na moto na kidogo I have retired. Sijui I have gone where. Ameretire. Sasa Murare Kibaso ameretire. Within 1 year amesha retire. Haya Kasomwel. Sijui Kasiomwel. Kasiomwel akakuja na moto tukafikiria ndio Gen Z, akaona polisi akatoka mbio. Kutoka mbio mpaka saa hii Kasiomwel ako ODM. Umeona? Haya. Sasa huyu leader wa Gen Z ni nani? Nakubaliana nao ya kwamba kukuwa na leader ni mbaya. Because leader wananunuliwa. Lakini kutokuwa na leader pia ni mbaya kwa sababu hamna mwelekeo. Tunaelekea which direction? You know, a leader gives direction of where people are going. That is what a leader does. But wakati a leader hamna leader ni ngumu kabisa kujua tunaelekea wapi. No. Mimi naonelea hivi. Gen Z for us to succeed in their mission, they need a leader and they need a strategy. Kuimba tu one term, we have numbers. It's not enough. We needed a leader who is serious, supported by Gen Zs. Yeye itakuwa mzuri. Gen Z waamue waseme tu Maraga ni wewe, ama Okiya Mtata ni wewe, ama nani anaitwaje this young man Babu Owino ni wewe. Bas, sasa waseme ni huyo na ni huyo na mambo kuisha. Because they have numbers. Honestly, they have serious numbers. Kama ni kutoa kiongozi wanaweza katoa kiongozi asubuhi na mapema saa 10 ile saa ya Rigathi Gachagua ya saa 7 hiyo. Wanaweza katoa kiongozi. Na wasichukue Rigathi Gachagua ati ndio kiongozi wao. Hapana, hiyo ni makosa kubwa kabisa. Kama ile ndio Mungu alisema. Makosa kubwa kabisa ni hiyo kuchukua Rigathi Gachagua kumweka hapo ati yeye ni kiongozi. Hiyo ni mimi nakwambia asubuhi na mapema. Hiyo ni makosa. Ati Rigathi Gachagua, ati mmetoa Ruto mkaweka Rigathi Gachagua.
Problem one. Mmetoa Rigathi Gachagua, urudi mtu mkaeka anaitwaje? Mkaeka Kalonzo Musyoka, another problem. Mmetoa Rigathi Gachagua mkaeka Matiang'i, another problem. Mmetoa Rigathi, yani these people do not have any reforms. Ati mmetoa Rigathi Gachagua mkaeka na mmetoa William Ruto mkaeka Raila Odinga, another serious problem. Because those people who are supporting Ruto are the same people who Raila are the people of Raila. So I'm telling you where we are going. If we are to remove William Ruto, we must have people who have very good ideas, who can respect the law. And for example, Okiya Mtata amekuwa akipigania hii nchi hata kama hakuna mtu anamjua, kwa koti kila time, kila wakati. David Maraga. These are the people that Kenya needs. But I am telling you that the people of Kenya will not vote them because Wakenya wanapiganga chama na vitu kama hizo. Kama naweza tukapigia leader kama hao ambao wako na akili ya kupeleka nchi vizuri, inaweza kuwa mzuri. But removing William Ruto and replacing him with the same people we will be in the same problem. Because tuliimba Uhuru Kenyatta Itaweri ena Itaweri. Saizi tunaimba Uhuru Kenyatta toka Itaweri rudi State House. Unaelewa? Tuliimba Uhuru Kenyatta maliza uende. Watu walimwimbia Uhuru Kenyatta maliza, hata hawataka kusikia Uhuru Kenyatta akiwaambia tafadhali mtu namjua. Huyu William Ruto mimi namjua. Wakasema hapana, huyo wewe mjuzi ndo tunamjua. Sasa saa hii tunalia. Tungesikiliza tu Uhuru Kenyatta kidogo tu. Hatuoni ni shida. Na
okay. Now your audio keeps fluctuating. Are you the one moving around, Amani?
The network. I think it's the network, but yeah.
Stay closer to the mic as you speak. Yeah.
Yeah, I am saying that the Gen Zs, they have a very good opinion and they have a very good agenda. But the problem is the agenda will fade away if it is not based on a leader. Then we should just take a leader to weekend ya leader wetu on our terms. See, the problem is that the leader have been our leader on their terms, not on our terms. The president of the Republic of Kenya is elected on the terms of the constitution. But the problem is he thinks that he's there on his terms. Kwa mfano, the Kenyans can fire the president, not the president firing them. But the problem is that the president thinks he can fire Kenyans. Yet Kenyans are the ones that can actually fire him. Because Kenyans give him mandate to work for him, not him to work for him, not Kenyans to work for him, but him to work for Kenyans. That's why we put them there. But what at 2027 how it is going to be, and we see if the Gen Zs are going to come out in their numbers as they have said, and to see. And we want channels like this one should mobilize people to go out and register, because that is where we got our mobilize young people to go out and register. Wasilale, wachukue vitambulisho to get leadership, good leadership.
All right, thank you. And your suggestion for leadership is a good one, but don't you see it's like a tricky to get the splitting of the vote? For example, as long as Gen Z remains leaderless, they remain together under the umbrella of leaderless. But the moment somebody is named as their leader, for example, Maraga, and then we'll have those anti-Maraga who are going to galvanize around Gachagua or galvanize around Matiang'i or galvanize around Omtata. So how do we, successfully get a leader without disintegrating? Because that has been our historical unmaking all along. You remember the Ford breaking into Ford Asili, Ford Kenya, and then of course, the unity of opposition failing for 10 years I think 10 or 20 years before the 2002.
You see, I have just said, I understand where the Gen-Zs are coming from. We have one problem. Once a leader is known, it is easy for people to be bought. So the Gen-Z hate the term, the leader, because they believe that once he's a leader, he is going to be on his table and eat for themselves. At the same time, if they remain leaderless until 2027, two things will happen. The Gen Zs who want to remove Ruto from power, they will be the one who will be handing him power without them knowing, because they are not in one person, yani hawako mtu mmoja. So it's easy for them to be confused. That is why it was important for Gen Zs to accept. They want to remove Ruto from office. Now, let them get a leader whom they are fully support 100% in their back and say, CC 2027, we are behind this person. And if we remove Ruto tomorrow, he is the one that we want him to sit on power. You see, now that one is easier for other Gen Zs who does not know where to go. They will go. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask them this question. So, suppose tomorrow you remove William Ruto from power. Who takes the power? Who takes the power? Kithure Kindiki. Who also they don't want? Kithure Kindiki takes power. They also don't want Kithure Kindiki. Haya. Kithure Kindiki, they don't want. Wetangula is the next one in position to take power. So there is no. You see, this thing reminds me of a coup, 1982 coup. One of the reasons why the coup never succeeded, some other sources claim, the coup was planned, plotted, but did not succeed because there was no leader who was ready to go and take power. See, for a coup to succeed, there must be a leader who is ready to take power after removing the other leader. For example, Moi has already run away and is already in hiding somewhere. Moi alikuwa amekimbia amepotea mahali huko. Who was ready to go and sit on the seat? Hakukuwa na leader yote. That is why the coup failed. The same way the DNZs, I am foreseeing a scenario where they have votes, yes, but their vote will be scattered and hand William Ruto a very smooth seat 2027 in office if they are not together. Now, I understand their game. Me pia ni Gen Z. I am with them. Niko nao na tena nafurahia sana hii mambo hatuna leader, but inanisumbua sana kuona hatuna leader. Yani we do not have a leader. We should just speak in one voice and say, sisi tuna support this person. It's early to speak, but
now that's a good one. But you need to get together and talk. You know, mobilizing and getting people into action on online has its advantages and disadvantages. But as we get closer towards the elections, I think we need to, concretize what we are discussing by channeling that energy towards one direction. And that is what I'm fearing, because when there will be a decision for Maraga, they will suddenly have another faction within that Gen Z movement that will say, instead of Maraga, we want Matiang'i, or instead of Matiang'i, we want Kalonzo. And in the process, we give William Ruto an ease entry into the second term, not because he didn't have opposition, but because he succeeded to scatter the opposition, the way Moi did in 92 and 98. There was nothing Moi did that was extraordinary, other than ensuring that the opposition does not come together and does not settle for one candidate.
Yes, that's why I'm saying William Ruto also is a schemer. He's seeing all these things. And that is why you will realize that William Ruto wants to try as much as possible to impose so many leaders and so many presidential candidates who are going to scatter for these votes. He's a schemer. He's going to do the same thing he did. Ataweka watu kama kina former anaitwaje Moses Kuria must be on the ballot. He could be on the ballot for Ruto. Aeke so many other small people just for him to scatter the votes. Ruto is 50 plus 1 and then go on the negotiation table. See, it's a scheme also. Now, if they want to remove Ruto, there are only 3 people who can remove Ruto. 1, Raila Odinga. 2, Rigathi Gachagua. 3, Gen Z themselves. Gen Z themselves, they can remove Ruto asubuhi na mapema because they have, yani, asubuhi na mapema. And William Ruto is afraid. He knows that these people are going to remove him, and they are determined to remove him. But the question is, who is going to be their leader? Is the biggest problem. Because Gachagua, I am advising them as Boniface Mwangi. He is the same person as this William Samoei Ruto. He is not different. So Gachagua, they should run away from him. They should run. I was saying kuiba one time. Lakini wasijaribu kumweka karibu na nini. Amwambie tu. The only person who was close by ni Kalonzo. Na shida ya Kalonzo ni moja. Kalonzo will be president by now, but the problem with Kalonzo is one. Wengi wanamuona ni kama yeye ni kigeugeu, alafu ni mtu he does not even know what next. Saizi, he is expecting Rigathi Gachagua campaign for. He should be one running around campaigning. Ati kama Raila yuko, Rigathi Kalonzo is dead. Kama Rigathi Gachagua yuko, Kalonzo is dead. Sasa Kalonzo surely angekuwa amechukua jenzi wote kwa mfuko. Sasa Kalonzo anakuwa anaimbiwa Kalonzo sasa ni wangekuwa anamwimbia. But he is very weak. He doesn't even have enough money to run a campaign. We need somebody who is serious. Haya. Turudi kwa Maraga. Maraga, one of the things in an appeal nayo watu is that is because it's not corrupt. There's no corruption that he can touch to Maraga. So Gen Z love that one. But kuna wenye pia wampendi Maraga. Kuna wenye pia wampendi Maraga. Not all Gen Z loves him. Kuna wenye pia wampendi. Matiang'i anapendwa na Gen Z because Matiang'i akisema Rua anafanya. That is why Matiang'i is loved. The only problem is that people like millennials who does not love Gen Z, who does not love Matiang'i, kuna wenye wapendi Matiang'i pia because of 1, 2, 3. But kuna wenye pia wanampenda. Na mimi pia naona ni scheme ya Ruto pia. Hii huyu Maraga na Matiang'i hapa naona kama kuna wenye Ruto pia akona mkono hapa anacheza. You know Ruto is a scheme and you cannot trust him. He's a very good schemer. You know how to scheme things. You can never trust him. Anaweza scheme wakisiwa gawane kura apite katikati. Anaweza scheme wakikuyu hapa pia apite katikati. Alafu akona Nyanza lakini kuna Nyanza hizi asiamini kura Nyanza. I am telling you the truth. Asiamini kura ya Nyanza. If Raila Odinga does not get 100% in Nyanza, will William Ruto can get it? Hawezi pata. Naambia William Ruto asubuhi na mapema. Hawezi kura ya Nyanza ama ya Western. Yeye angeamini atafute kura kwingine lakini huko asiamini 100%. Hawala na mchezo. In fact, mimi niko huko. Najua wanaimba tu Raila baada kwa
sawa nataka tuanze kutamatisha. Nikuulize swali. Wewe uone itakuwa rahisi kudili na Kindiki kuliko Ruto? Kwa mfano tu to succeed kuimpeach Ruto, tumfanye Kindiki rais ama kwa hii term, then itakuwa walkover kama vile ilikuwa hapa Nairobi. Get rid of Sonko, make that madam alikuwa naitwaje governor, and then have a smooth flow for the next elections. Why can't the agency, members of parliament and all are running together, get rid of Ruto? As long as Ruto is not a candidate.
Listen,
yes.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
people from Central, this will be their favorite thing to do, to join hands to impeach Ruto, and then their own, who is Kithure Kindiki to be in power. I am telling you that they cannot do that one. Why?
Because ODM, which is in parliament, knows very well that if Ruto is impeached, it will cause chaos. It's going to be difficult to impeach him. Now, he can be impeached.
Kithure Kindiki takes power.
They're not comfortable with Kithure Kindiki because William Ruto will work in the back with Kithure Kindiki.
Unaona hapo. Kwa hivyo kuimpeach William Ruto, parliament wanaweza fanya. But
we are making Kithure Kindiki president so that we defeat him on the ballot.
Kithure Kindiki naye ndio kumdefeat kwa ballot. Juu ni soprano.
Unaelewa? Kithure Kindiki is very easy to defeat on the ballot.
What do you mean that we can defeat? We can finish it.
Nimesema Kithure Kindiki is the easiest person to defeat kwa ballot asubuhi na mapema. Because
ni akona Kithure Kindiki asubuhi yako nyumbani.
Si fire. Base.
So I'm just trying to advise the Gen Z. Please, Gen Zs. Tuende tuchukue kura, lakini tujue kuna kitu moja lazima tufanye. To make sure ya kwamba sisi tuko na leader ambaye we are trying to support. That will help us.
My opinion. The problem, I am afraid also that the earlier you call the leader, the worse it is,
because then they pay their money, they start telling them this. It's just
because money is everything. Ruto kuja kuambia wewe chukua bilioni 15 hivi, wachana hii maneno. Si unaacha jenzi kwa mataa. Unaenda ngambo na relax ngambo. Unaona?
Sasa ndio mchukue Maraga ama Okio Mtata, wale hawezi kununuliwa, and then hao wengine mshikilie.
Let me tell you the ticket that I loved to be on the ballot. Okio Mtata president, Maraga deputy, or Maraga deputy, Maraga president, Okio Mtata deputy. Hiyo tiketi asubuhi na mimi nauza kabisa. Tauza.
But ticket
hiyo itakuwa hatari. I have a different suggestion. We need if we take Maraga, we should have a youthful person to keep the picture of the young people.
But you know there's one youth ambaye amependwa Kenya mzima, Babu Owino. Basi fanya nikwambie Babu Owino fanya hivi. Maraga president, Babu Owino deputy. Tumemaliza maneno. Asubuhi na mapema jenzi wote Babu Owino. I am telling you, Babu Owino anapendwa Kenya mzima. Wacha nikwambie leo. Hata Raila Odinga akichukua certificate ya ODM apatie nani? Hata Raila Odinga akisimama president governor Nairobi. Asubuhi na mapema Babu Owino anashinda. Hata Raila Odinga akisema ndio governor anashinda. Babu Owino anashinda asubuhi na mapema ODM Nairobi. Mimi nakwambia Babu Owino Maraga will get ticket to sell, or Edwin Sifuna Maraga will get ticket to sell.
All right, that's a good one, and we hope that works. Especially Edwin Sifuna, yes, experience, level-headed, very committed to the rule of law, and future. He looks future president, and so that will work magic. But that also needs to help Kenyans get out of the mess of their tribal cocoons. You see what is going on with the Western Kenya and the tribal arrangement that is taking place right now. If we don't walk out of that tribal whatever imprisonment, we may just deny that better ticket a win because of those so-called tribal animosity and wanting to pay back or win against each other. I think we must all outgrow the aspect of tribal rivalry and get to the nitty-gritty of appreciating that we as a country, we are in a mess and we need to get out of that mess. And for us to get out of that mess, we must be willing to find the person that is competent enough and able to help us get out of the hole where we have dug ourselves into. And so the traditional tribal rivalry that has always denied us right leaders, right competent nationalists, they have been denied that opportunity all along on the altar of our tribal commitment. I think we must endeavor to go and preach that out of the minds and the hearts of majority of Kenyans, which in my opinion can work like magic if we begin early enough and be able to convince Kenyans that they are only safe when they are fighting for Kenya, not for their tribe, not their region, and not even their political party. The fight for Kenya needs to be a fight for Kenya by Kenyans, regardless of their political party persuasion, regardless of their tribal or ethnic background, regardless of their regional wherever superiority, so that we end this issue of watu wangu, watu wetu, watu wenu at the expense of the country. And so I would pray that the millennials, the Generation X, and the rest get delivered from this so, well built within our system of tribalizing everything. And of course, the government bloggers and the rest of the Pro-Ruto team are doing extra work to see to it that that remains. That as long as we remain tribal and remain, fighting against other tribes, we will keep the status quo. So for true change to take place, we must outgrow our tribal differences and our tribal rivalry. Let the Luya, if a better person to be a president is a Luya, so be it. If a better person to be a president is a Turkana, so be it. Let the best man win, not the one that is available, or not the leftovers. Bwana John, you can respond to that briefly, tumlete furaha tunapoanza kufungasha.
Yes, we do not need a leader because of his tribe. We need a leader who can, if he's the best leader, Kenya should look for the best leader, not because of where it's coming from. Where it's coming from is the problem that we have today. Because we had Moi, we had only two tribes, yet we had 47 tribes, many tribes in Kenya. So we could get somebody from anybody that is willing to take Kenya to where we are supposed to be. That's what we are supposed to be focusing on. And so we remove corruption, we remove bad governance, if we do away with all these things, I think Kenya, we have a lot of money. Imagine 2 billion inapotea kila siku, bado tuko na pesa kwa account. 2 billion, Nuhura alituambia 2 billion every day tunapoteza 2 billion. Hiyo ni pesa mingi sana. Na bado Kenya haijaanguka. Ushaisikia Kenya imeanguka? Bado tunaendelea mbele na maisha. I mean, if we remove corruption and bad governance and have a very good leader who are willing to work, I think we will be in a good position. We do not need maandamano. We do not need anything. I mean, that is my take.
Sawa, asante sana Bwana John, tunashukuru kwa maoni yako. Mabibi na mabwana, tunapoendelea na mchakato, maoni yako kwa comment hapo, tunashukuru. Nimeona mtu kwa TikTok anasema Kindiki atakuwa walk over. So hii muujiza wa kumungatua Ruto kabla ya one term, it will be a good miracle. Furaha, hali vipi?
Niko salama.
Karibu siku nyingi.
I've been away for a while, yes. The debate today, of course, we've learned where Boniface is, but you wonder where the country is headed. on the topic that you are on about who is best suited for the presidency, for me, I earlier commented and said I have my reservations regarding Maraga because of his tenure as the CJ. If you've had an opportunity to have a case in the law courts, in our law courts, you'll see what happens there. That system is just, these people protect themselves, the lawyers, even very strong cases like the land for ever-ready guards. This Asian lady whose house was demolished. Very, very straight cases that you think would get the attention and the things that are needed. He did quite a bit, but I'm still just researching on some things that I am not comfortable with regarding Maraga, because you see, he was Chief Justice. We have three arms of government. We have the legislature, we have the executive, and we have the judiciary. That's an independent arm of government. But during his tenure, there are a lot of also the executive and the legislator or just the politicians still got away with so much under his tenure. You can say it wasn't up to him because it's a question of the lawyers and the judges and everyone in the system. But you see, that's the same thing that we are faulting Ruto for. The buck stops with him in the country. The buck stopped with Maraga. So there's some outstanding cases. I was just highlighting some, but I'm checking my facts before I can put them forward anywhere. But that's just, for me, there was a test. There was a test for him, and he fell short. He went ahead and did something that was unprecedented, very in order, like nullifying an election. But he let the circumstances of the repeat election make his nullification really void. It was useless for him to nullify an election and then let us go back to an election with the same referee, the same field, nothing changed, and Uhuru just had a field day. So for me, there are some things that you look at it, and he was very tough. We felt like this is the guy when that nullification came. But later, after the issue of we shall revisit, he really went low when we expected him to come up. Some of the people or some of the cases that we thought would really get attention during his tenure did not. So yeah, I'm still compiling that, but I think Maraga for me is not the man. He might be that he doesn't have some corruption linked to him directly, but he had a very, very, very big post. And I'm trying to look at the positives of that time. They are there, but you feel like for somebody, because you see, if he was the CJ, which is an independent arm from the legislature and the executive, and he couldn't check them. When he becomes president, we want that president to go back and take on some of those people who have messed us. So if he couldn't do it with the office that he had, which is actually supposed to check these other two, I don't think he'll do it with the executive. I don't think he can come after the people that, after the rot and the corrupt people when he's the president if he couldn't do it with the judiciary. Yeah, so that's my fear. I mean, I like Sifuna. Babu, I know it's only the DJ Evolve thing that rubbed him wrongly, but I think that is something he has made amends for, and probably he did it at a time when he wasn't in his right mind, and he has made amends for it with the family, and he has redeemed himself quite a bit. So there's something going on for him, especially them being youthful. Sifuna was even today. He was with the young captains, these ladies, young girls and ladies who are ODM members. And if you listened to everything that went down during that event, you get a sense that he's somebody who is quite reliable. I'm sure his connection and relation to Baba is causing ripples in those people who feel betrayed by Baba. Yeah, but Bernard, I was wondering, betrayal betrayal, unajua sasa ukianza kusema nimekubetray and we didn't even have an agreement. Sometimes I was having a discussion with someone and I said, the word betrayal is like you are at par and you are in agreement with something. But if I recall, the Gen Zs were not even, they didn't want Baba anywhere. So that is something that is still, for people who want to lay blame, it is still out there. So that's the only thing that people are castigating ODM for, and by extension everybody who is in it. But I think with time things are working out in a way that is getting us away from that. Because if you see what the government is doing by itself, and how people who are trying to paint Ruto as somebody who is valuable, they're shouting there and making pronouncements that are costing them. Like today, that legislator from Northeastern, she's an ODM member, but they're saying you should carry your cross. Sifuna is saying carry your cross. You can't make pronouncements that are illegal and then think that because you are in ODM, or because Baba has agreed to work with Ruto to an extent in terms of making the environment suitable for him to try and resolve issues or do his work, and then you just make pronouncements. You'll take your cross. You'll have to carry your cross, and when the time comes, I don't think anybody is going to vouch for you for what you have done. So I think we still have time. We still have time, and leaders can emerge, and probably even some of the ones we are fronting might be backed by some unknowns in terms of people who have not really been out there in politics, especially for running mates, to deputize them. Because I looked at the IEBC chair talking today, and my only great concern was that that tablet was being brought by Marjan, the CEO of the IEBC, the CEO at IEBC, the secretariat. And there was a time here we were saying we keep changing the commissioners, but the secretariat is the same. So that is an area where we really need to put pressure we really need to put pressure on Marjan and the people who've been there before, because if I recall, I think for Chebuka to make his declaration, Marjan was one of with him. You know, they were agreed on the decision that he made, even though there were so many faults in that decision. There wasn't even a copy, you know, in that hall on that day. But I saw him placing the tablet there and really looking at the chair, the IEBC chair, while he was reading his statement, and the body language. And I just looked at this and I say, if something doesn't happen in that secretariat, if we don't put our attention there, you know, this election might not be pleasant. But because we are woke and we are sure that we are trying to block all the loopholes and work hard, I am really still hopeful, still praying that the pressure can be enough to be able to make it half term rather than one term. And if that happens, of course, like people are saying, Kindiki will be caught off guard. First of all, he will be caught off guard. So because Ruto believes he's going to the ballot, I don't think he's gonna relent. But everything that is happening in the country, Bernard, you saw on 14th, you know, people descending on innocent revelers in joints where they were just enjoying themselves, playing pool and having their drinks and having their fun. And the police posts in those areas are saying those are not their people, but they descended on people with clubs and, you know, and whips. And what is this country coming to? And then today, Boniface, and you're like, you know, he's working very hard, or rather, maybe the people, because maybe he has instructed that, you know, the way he has said you shoot the foot instead of killing the person, as if Rex didn't die of a gunshot, not to the head, not to the body, but it was on part of his leg, but he bled out. So maybe the people who are executing Ruto's instructions, they're doing it in a way that is putting him in a very, very awkward position, because there are a lot of people who are not going to go with him. Even the MPs, you know, with the IEBC coming on board, now that they've been sworn in, one of the tasks on their table is the recall for 4 constituencies, 4 areas. Yeah, there are people who want to recall their MPs, and they said they'll look at it. You know, if even just one is successful out of those 4, people will wake up. I was up country recently, and even the people who think that there's a large section of Nyanza that will give Ruto their vote, I don't think so. The ground is not that sound for him, and the more these things happen that are, you know, human right violations, the more the people who are upright and thinking of the the people and their rights will distance themselves from him. Even Baba lately, you know, some of the comments, though people are saying, "Oh, let's not talk. We don't want that. We don't want we don't want any dialogue. We don't want any conclave," as he has called it. They don't want anything. But I think it is only a person who lacks wisdom who doesn't take an opportunity when given one to just even express what you want, you know, in a forum that you can hold to account. When we go to the street, yes, we make a statement, but to who generally? It's a big statement out there, but you see how much negativity it gets, to the point that even if you had a point, all the violence, all the people, the mistakes that are done by others who are not even the true protesters, it waters down the weight of what was supposed to be achieved by that protest. So if that is not working and you have another opportunity where somebody is saying, what is it you want? Even if they're deaf or they've been blind to what you're saying, I don't think there's any harm in taking that opportunity to repeat yourself, and put documents and your evidence and table it so that it's captured for future use. Even if you're to go to higher courts or international courts, those are some of the things that will have weight, because there could be signings or agreements and dialogue that is structured. And so I think it's just any wise person takes stock, and the kind of deaths that we've had with the maandamanos, this is the kind of stock take that Baba did in 2023 and said, wait a minute, I can't go to the street another time. 97 lives plus all the injuries is too much. And now if we add up 2024 and then 2025, any logic would dictate that without the environment changing the way it is right now. So Sifuna is a good pick. Babu Owino is a good pick, but maybe he could be eyeing the governor's seat in Nairobi now that Tim Wanyonyi has interest in Bungoma. So yeah, that's what I think, Bernard. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Fra, for that. And probably on Maraga, I may choose to hold a brief for him. The judiciary and the executive are two different arms of government, and the operations are very different from each other. One thing about Maraga is, I would say, the content of his character in terms of his strong stand on values and principles, in terms of that is standing with a constitutionalism. And that could also might have been the reason of him not having high-handedness in terms of how cases are held or how cases are decided. Like the way the judiciary is structured, to me, it's even funny. Okay, we have the president of the Supreme Court, and then that president of the Supreme Court is made a member of the Judicial Service Commission. And then if the judge gets into error, that judge is supposed to be accused to the Judicial Service Commission. And the Judicial Service Commission is also subject to be taken to court, to another lower court. So the structure itself doesn't, it's problematic from the word go, and it's very difficult to find your way around it. But Maraga's influence over the 7 judges to come to an agreement of nullifying an election, that to me is a huge score, and a huge score in the sense that it wasn't a personal individual decision. It was his leadership that brought about this 7 judges, or the majority of the 7 judges, to come to a conclusion, say this thing smells too bad, we can't leave it the way it is. As opposed to Madam Hot Air, Madam Hot Hair was brought food that is smelling very bad, and she was able to influence 7 of all the 7 judges to agree that this food is good. Let's just eat it. Who will decide what medicine to take thereafter? And so, on issues of leadership, then his constant being at loggerheads with the executive, giving advice for the dissolution of parliament. The only place where I don't see Maraga serious is that fallout between him and Uhuru Kenyatta on the 3 judges. Were they 3 or 4 judges? That Uhuru said no, and he was still saying they should be sworn in.
Yes.
Yes. So that's where now I begin to ask, why should he be insisting? And then he is part of the JSC, the Judicial Service Commission, and the Judicial Service Commission are the ones service to the evidence that these judges are not to be relied upon. So how could Maraga be given all that evidence and be given all that, being the know-how of all that knowledge, but Uhuru Mlevi wetu anaona hii hapana. So up to on those issues, I would find, if I got Maraga, I will ask him about it. But on providing leadership, I think he can further this nation better than majority of the people, because also we're looking at also at the state of the country. Okay, the state of the country. The country is in such a place that if you run it too fast, you crash it. If you run it too slow, you lose it. And so we would need a fatherly figure and who is conversant with the law. And all we need is to bring Kenya back to the rule of law. The moment Kenya is back on the rule of law, everything will flow. But we have got so many loopholes and so many, escape routes on the issue of law. Anytime somebody's cornered, they find a way around the law, So when we tighten the rule of law and get the country to be run according to the Constitution, we will make giant steps ahead faster than all this cutting of corners. And the best person on that, if it's not Okiya Mtata, should be Maraga. De Matiang'i is a performance guy, a man of action. But actioning this country the way it is right now may just land it into another chaos. I don't know what you feel. 1 minute to ondoke.
Matiang'i, even if you're an action person, you cannot be charged with a responsibility and then you just act on illegal directives. That's where people like Martha win when they saw that the system is corrupt and I can't, you resign or you get out. You say, oh, that is not something I can do, and then you get out. But if you're a performance person and so you go there and you get things done, but some of those things are questionable. Some of those things are outright, human rights violation, and you say, I don't care for it, because now you're working and you are under instruction. So you work on everything, whether it's good or bad. So for me, Matiang'i is totally out in terms of leadership. He's tainted in a way, looking at the docket that he held, which is what Murkomen, it's so similar to what Murkomen is doing right now. So he can stand and place judgment, but we can just say if it's flipped, there's not much difference between what you did in terms of human rights violation. It's not so much different from what Murkomen is doing right now. Okia Omtata is another good fit. As to whether that post of the president is what is best for him, I don't know. But I know he has a place in changing the system, because these are people who are consistent in terms of fighting corruption. And truth be told, corruption is our biggest monster. Because when you're corrupt, that's how you're going to be corrupt when you're procuring IEBC material, when you're doing things. The corruption eats into every fabric. Yeah. And that's exactly why I'm a bit concerned. But I told you I'm working on some of the details, because, like you said, the legal system, the way it's structured in a way that getting your justice. I had a case that started in 2022. It ended this year, and people are there who have been there 20 years, and you look at it and you just say, this system, it is designed to be corrupt. The legal system is designed to be corrupt. So if you have a case against someone, the judges can make decisions that favor people that they know. If a lawyer is insinuated in the case, other lawyers cover for him. There's a camaraderie that is there that is not helpful at all. Judges cover for the other judges, lawyers cover for, they're all just a big family. So you have very few people in there who are still straight, who will help you, whether it's at the registry so that your file doesn't get lost. But clearly, it's why I think if Maraga couldn't do anything about it as a judicial officer of that rank, I don't know what he'll do, because we still need the legal aspect to be able. Maybe the experience he's had there is something he can use now on the other side of the coin when he's now in the executive. But I still have my doubts. When push comes to shove, he's a gentleman, but there are times when you need to be extremely bold, like that decision that they made. But then when we were happy about that, and then later he just seemed to retract, whether it was the threats, whether something happened that made him go down. It's something that we'll see. And then, the youthfulness that we are looking for. Maybe a fatherly figure will help, because we went the youth way with Uhuru and Ruto, and still there was no delivery. So maybe we'll go back to maturity and older people. But I just want Kenyans to think about it in terms of we are our own best caretakers. We are our own best caretakers when it comes to this country. And whoever we put there, let's not elect someone and then leave it up to him. If we are all in it, it will make it easier for whoever it is that we decide to put there. So not just leave it to the MPs, elect people and just expect them to go there and work. No, we will hold them accountable. We'll have to push. We'll have to be diligent on a daily basis, because we've seen that sometimes people promise and then when they go there, My current experience is sometimes it's not so much that let me see what you have done in order to elect you. There's an aspect of what am I electing you to go and do? What is the task ahead? Are you suited for the task ahead? As opposed to what you've been able to do. You could have been able to do something, but now because you're destined for another bigger role, it's the role ahead that is going to determine whether you are qualified for it or not. So when we recruit, let's look at, is this person capable of the task ahead? Where we want to go, not so much where we've been, because they could have performed prior, but when now it comes to the task ahead, sometimes there's a letdown. I always give the example of the other CJ. He was a very good activist, but when it came to being a CJ, there was like, you feel like an underperformance. So maybe we need to think of who is it who is fit for the role that is coming, where we want to go more than where we have been. Thank you, Bernard.
Ken, thank you. A very good outlook, and I think we should apply here my bishop's principle. One of my bishops has a principle that when he calls you on the pulpit, please don't experiment on the people. Bring only finished product. Don't come and begin to do praise and worship practice. Come with finished product. And I think Kenyans need to come to that place where we have experimented with leadership for too long. Let's get competent people, qualified, fully furnished, put them in the office. Not put somebody in the office and say we'll polish him when he's in the office, or we'll straighten him when he's in the office, or we'll make him do what he's supposed to do. Let's look for complete finished product, put in the office. Wakiingia kwa ofisi, ikuwe ile timu ya Kibaki. In the office today, tomorrow we have free primary education. The other day we have agriculture working with Arab Kirwa. We have things working, not to shike committee tena. 50 advisors are advising me like this. I'm thinking like that. Murkomen is telling me this. Farouk is telling me this. The experimenting with this country should end with these 2022 elections. Tuweke kila mahali mtu ambaye anafaa.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Unless there's a matter we need to close now. It's 1:02 a.m. East African time. Leo tulianza kipindi mapema. We already done 2 hours, and I don't want us to go further than that. Okay. Faraha assumed that there's nothing to add. Let's listen out to what Sifuna said today, even as we begin to close.
Alafu tuende nyumbani, leo ni saa tu. Yes, Kennedy.
What is your take on the intergenerational national talk that has been advised by your party leader?
I think this is what exactly is happening here. Because if you look at me and Senator Beth, we don't come from this generation. These are our younger sisters. And we have taken the position that you must never discount dialogue. You must never refuse an opportunity to discuss your issues or to talk. And when you sit down and listen to them, you get different perspective on the issues in the country. I have said when we were in there that we need to get to a place where certain decisions are only left to younger generations. And I've given the example of a suggestion that was made by one of the elders in this country to build apartments in Nairobi National Park. And my position is that we should ask the children whether they want to continue seeing animals at Nairobi Park or they want to see apartments. That decision surely cannot be for people over the age of 70. So it is important to have these conversations. I was giving the example that when I was at the University of Nairobi in the early 2000s, we used to pay only 6,000 shillings per semester for the accommodation. Now they're telling me it's upwards of 40,000 Kenya shillings. And this is something that as a generation who enjoyed that benefit ourselves, we must be fair to this generation also and give them a chance at education and not to stifle it by making it expensive for them to go to school. So how do these issues come up if you don't talk? But what they have told us is that now the older generations need to do less talking and more listening. Yeah. And as a party, ODM, we are committing here today that we will do more listening than talking. Yes. And when we give these young people opportunity to speak to the country, please don't harass them the way you are trying to harass them. It is not fair. It is the first time that this young lady is answering questions from the press. And I have done this for 8 years. This can be very intimidating. Yes. So muwapeleke pole pole hata nyinyi. Ndio tuwakubalie wafanye nini? Waongee. Si ati ukiongea unaanza kuulizwa maswali mingi. Hapana. Muwasikize. Sawa?
My name is Wamala from West TV. My question to you as SG, you've expressed your regrets as a party signing an MOU with you. So do you consider getting out of the MOU, or you have to...
That's not a decision for Sifuna. That is not a decision for Sifuna. You know how decisions of ODM are made. They are made after meetings of organs of the party. There is an NDC that has been called for October, is it? Yes. So I am sure once that, you know, Sifuna as SG, I am only a spokesperson. And a spokesperson cannot speak for themselves. You say things that have been resolved. So I am sure you will be welcome to Mombasa during the NDC. Decisions will be taken at that meeting and everybody will be told. Last question, Leoni Sato. Si ulikuwa ushauliza bro. First of all, let me tell you that as a party, we already condemned any member of parliament or any person standing up to claim that they will interfere with elections. As you know, ODM has been a victim of election rigging for many, many elections. So it is not the position of ODM to countenance, to support, or to even condone the thought of interference with elections. These young people will tell you that they are waiting. They are very eager, just like I was in 2002, to be given a ballot, so that people hear from them directly. So anyone who will tell you that you can come and speak and say this is how you want the country to go, and then somebody comes and changes that election, wametuambia haitakalika, hakutakalika huko Kenya, na haitakubalika mtu yoyote kuinterfere na uchaguzi, si ndio? So we condemn in the strongest term any person, be it from ODM, be it from any other political party. And as I've said, we have institutions in this country. We have the IEBC, who used to summon us every day to their boardroom when Chebukati was chair. For even a minor infraction, I would find myself there answering questions every day. We want the IEBC to summon these people who are threatening to interfere with elections, not just condemn in a letter. We want them to be summoned there. And the NCIC, because we all know what happened in 2007. The precursor of the violence was the interference of the elections of 2007. So anybody who's talking about interference with the election is actually a threat to this country, and they must be dealt with. I want to call the NCIC and IEBC. Summon these people. ODM will not protect anyone, even if it is from within our ranks. Thank you. I want us to... There is nothing like a candidate, Madam. You know, I've been a leader of this political party for 8 years now. I wish political parties had the powers that people imagine we do have. All of us, a political party only exists for politics. If, for instance, today I go and beat my neighbor at home, that is not a matter you ask ODM, what are you going to do to Sifuna? That is criminal conduct. That is why we are saying there are institutions who should enforce the law. If I go and break the law there, today I go and drink and fight in a bar, you don't ask Raila, what will you do to Sifuna? No. I should be arrested in the police and be taken to court, because political parties don't enforce criminal law. There is institutions for that. That is why the police exists. So anybody breaching the law, breaking the law, should be subject to the law. And that's what we are saying. For us, we can only condemn and disassociate ourselves from such pronouncements as believers in democracy. Thank you very much. Mungu wabariki. Always a pleasure to have you here. Asanteni sana.
Okay, there you have it. Our SG, that's ODM SG Sifuna, answering questions from journalists and making whatever, keeping the record clear. I am happy for that clarification, because there's a lot that is blamed on the party or on the leadership of the party, when actually whatever that is being complained about are criminal actions that the NIS or DCI should be working. And from borrowing from what Sifuna has just said, why would they be bouncing and, going to camp and arrest Boniface Mwangi in the night when the MPs who have pronounced themselves about rigging the elections, putting the country in whatever conflict mode, are still walking around freely? They have not been summoned. They have not been questioned. Nothing has been done from their end. So is this DCI and the NIS operations selective? Is there something wrong with the way our police and security systems are trained and established? Because it appears, Farah, if you are still there, there was this altercations between the Tanzania parliament and the Kenya parliament. You remember when they say they can't learn anything from Kenyans? And so there was an attempt by our Senate to try and answer them. And then it was concluded there was no reason of answering them because their cadre is too low, and it was built on the premise or expressed on the premise that when their Auditor General asked the Member of Parliament to hold their government to account, is it that they are not even able to read and to be able to make sense of the budget and be able to hold the government to account? I say it was assumed that because the majority are a CCM and the government is CCM, so the members of parliament cannot say anything against the government because it is their government. And so on that same premise, it appears that we have this people that would rather look the other side and let things be other than push to get what should be done.
Yeah, true, Bernard. Those are some of the state we couldn't hear in that discussion. Actually, I was able to listen to the whole session of these young captains from beginning to end, and it ended in that journalist, that presser. And we couldn't hear the questions, but out of the responses, you hear, what we've always talked about, that if somebody is in charge of the country and something is going wrong, why are you looking for people to blame other than this person who is in charge? Because ODM does not exist for resolving differences between me and my community. It does not exist for that. It exists as a vehicle for me to get into political spaces. So if it is something that is the police are supposed to do, they're supposed to do that. If it is something that it is the courts that are supposed to handle, then let the courts handle. But here is a case where we've had pronouncements that are so blatantly treasonable, and yet, some young people were caught on Sabasaba. Now Boniface is also being charged with treason and funding the protests. And you're like, these young people, even without evidence, the court will put bail, that is huge, that is impossible for them to cover. And yet we have people who have been very vocal. You see, these kids, we don't even know where they picked them from, which areas. But people we have seen and we have heard what they have said, and you can see this is something that is inflammatory. This is something that is inciting the population. That nothing has been done to them. So, and then you start saying, what is the opposition? What is Baba doing about this? Why is he silent? Like, we just have to get away from blaming people who are not accountable. You start asking me, why ODM is doing this. I'm not, I don't have a post in ODM. I'm just a member. You see, so everything has its position. But like you have said, if we begin to put everything at its door, that's how we will win this war. If people feel that Ruto has let us down, let's focus on it, because Gen Zs are recollecting, they're taking stock, because one of the things we told them, we tried to advise them, was that being leaderless is counterproductive for you. Yeah, it's counterproductive, and they've seen it, and some of them are taking stock now. People like, is it Okayo? They're taking stock because they're wondering, where did we go wrong? And some of those things, even the former MP Njeru Gadangu, that's the advice he gave them when there was a town hall discussion on the eve of Sabasaba. And I think that some of the advice that they were given is what led to the protesters not going to the street on Sabasaba. The real protesters did not go, because the question was, at what point, when you get to parliament and people are being shot, who tells you to retreat? Who tells you to go forward? Nobody. You're just left in limbo because you're leaderless. Let the leaders emerge from amongst them. And every time a leader emerged, that leader became their enemy. If it's Kasmuel, if it's whoever it is that emerged from those protests, whether it's Hanifa, whether people they would take sides. Some will be like, oh, Hanifa is good. Others will be like, no, she's paid. She's getting money from where? And so somebody was working to make sure that you don't read from the same page. I gave the example somewhere of the 2002 elections. When the opposition realized these are people who had been vying separately, meaning these are people who are not seeing eye to eye. When they realized that not seeing eye to eye is what is costing them, it didn't matter kama we ni adui yangu, we kuja hapa, bora tutoe the bigger monster. So that's where we are right now. Forget about sijui alilipwa wapi. Hata kama Boniface analipwa, nimewaambia bora analipwa na anafaitia the same thing that I want. If he gets paid for it, so be it. That's okay. I mean, it's not my business, but what does he stand for? He wants justice. He wants the same things I want. Being beaten for saying the things that I want to say. He's being harassed for the platform that I can't have. So, as a wise person, that person is on my side. So if all these people who are on the same side, they collate their energy, itakuwa half time. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you for how we appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we must call it a day as we wind up, but we'll be linking up later on. I had promised that I'll make official communication and it appears most of our viewers are not here. I think let me do that in tonight's program so that we lay all the records clear. But in the meantime, we really want to appreciate all of you for your patience and continued followership. Like I said, the previous 2-3 days, we have not been able to come on live. There is something happening with our internet service providers that is messing up our consistency in relaying our shows as we would love to. So want to urge us to continue subscribing to the channel and also urge you to support the channel as usual. We rely on your goodwill and support to keep running all this. If we give up on supporting the channel, then we will need to negotiate on how we will be operating. There are bills that we have to pay monthly to keep running this show. And so please, let's be vigilant on the same. And then I'll be giving an official communication about Frank and the support that we've been giving to him in at the tail end of tomorrow's show. So let everybody be around and let's engage. And please make use of whatever space you have to educate Kenyans. It is important that we rally together to do the right thing, not to rally together to fight each other, allow ourselves to be set against each other, to be told this tribe is better than this tribe and this tribe should not be allowed to be in power. This one should be hindered. This is not a tribal country and we don't have tribal presidents. If Ruto is kicked out of office, it's Ruto has been kicked out of office. It's not the Kalenjin, it's not the Rift Valley. It is William Ruto as an individual, and his sins and his breaking of the law is also individual, just like as his own gains. He's not making it a Kalenjin gains. So let's separate these two things, an individual and the tribe, ethnic group where he comes from. And
Can't hear you.